Welcome to the Fortified Life Podcast, where we learn how to develop a dependency on Jesus in the marketplace. From the boardroom to the bathroom, God is with you. Here's our host, author, speaker, teacher, encourager, stewardship coach, and my husband, the man they call Mr. Fortified, Jason Davis.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Jason Davis, aka Mr. Fortify, and we're back for another episode of the Fortified Life Podcast, where we are passionate about developing a dependency on Jesus in the marketplace. I love our episodes where we get to focus on tools and resources to help you deliver value to your customers. And so, folks, I'm really excited about this particular tools and resources episode in our series, because this gentleman, I've been a big fan of since his first book, and I can't wait to dive into the discussion around his second work. But before I bring him on, let me introduce him to you. Allan Dib. He has built, scaled, and exited 2 technology companies, one of which was named in the top 100 fastest growing companies in the country. He's best-selling author of 2 books, and he founded Lean Marketing to help entrepreneurs and business leaders shortcut the difficult and expensive trial and error process and master marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Fortified Life, Allan Dib. Allan, what's going on?
Jason, so good to be on. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Allan, before we dive into the tool and the resource around marketing, just give everybody a little bit of background. I know they read your bio and they're like, oh my God, this guy has done so much, but kind of take us back a little bit and how you came to do the work that you do today.
Well, look, I write the bio in a very glamorous way, but I'm very much like most entrepreneurs. I started as, a rebel without a clue. I was just a tech geek. I had no idea on how to get clients in my business. And that led me on a long journey on really learning and understanding marketing. So I spent probably over a decade learning, implementing, attending every class, reading every book, trying to figure out marketing, because I did so out of a need, because I needed to figure out how to get clients into my IT business. And, that was not something that a skill that I had. That was not I'd never kind of gone to university to study business or finance or any of those sorts of things. So that was something that I just had no idea on how to do. So it took me on a long journey on figuring out marketing, and I did. I grew that business, exited it for more money than I'd seen in my life, and then did it again with another tech business. We did that in a very short space of time. We went from 0 to 4 years later exiting that. So yeah, I had a lot of people basically asking me for marketing advice because they'd seen how I'd implemented it in my businesses and seen the success I'd had. And that really led me to what I do now, is really helping people figure out the same problem that I had, which is, how do you get clients? How do you get prospects? How do you get people to want and desire what you've got? And how do you deliver that to them? So that's really what I do now. So my work is really helping people develop and improve their own marketing skills.
I love it, Allan. And Allan, what kind of set the foundation for this? The experiences that you certainly lived and walked through as a business owner, but man, the one-page marketing plan is kind of the founding building blocks. So talk to us about that work and how that led into what you're doing now.
Yeah, so long before the one-page marketing plan was a book, it was a process that I implemented in my own consulting practice. Because when I did start consulting other people with marketing, one of the first things that I wanted them to do was to put together a marketing plan. Because like anything, when you do something that's complicated, or that has the potential to be complicated, the best way is to start with a plan. Just like if you're building a house, you're going to start with a blueprint. If you're putting together, if you want to improve your health, you want to put together a nutrition plan, an exercise plan, all of those sorts of things, and then follow that. So similarly, I saw that a lot of people were just kind of doing random acts of marketing. Let's do a little bit of website. Let's update our brand. Let's do all of this. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. They're all good things to do. But it was kind of just really random. And I'm like, all right. When I started working with my clients, I was like, all right, let's put together a plan so we have absolute clarity so that we're not just fumbling and trying random things and throwing things against the wall. We've got a plan that we're following. Now, the plan shouldn't be rigid, because if we get better and more information, we should be able to update that plan and move in a different direction. But we want to all be on the same page in our team, with our vendors, with our pay-per-click person, with our website guy. And I wanted that plan to be simple and practical. So I created a process called the one-page marketing plan. And it was tremendously successful with my clients. Clients who'd never had a marketing plan before in their business now had a plan. They had clarity, they had structure to follow, and we weren't kind of guessing on what are we going to do, why are we doing this, and doing random stuff. So that worked incredibly well. And I wanted to get that process out to a much wider audience, which is why I wrote the book, The One Page Marketing Plan. And, now millions of businesses around the world are using that to help them really plan their marketing, to plan their strategy. What are we going to do in a way that's kind of clear, that's structured, and that's simple?
So good, Allan. Clarity in this marketplace that has so much going on. Doesn't matter the industry. Just talk for a second, Allan, about what you're currently seeing in 2024, just with all the trends and traffic and noise. How can business owners just kind of work through all of the muck? How can they do that?
Yeah. So, I don't write many books. I've only written two. And the One Page Marketing Plan was written over 5 years ago. And, writing a book is not something I would wish on anyone. It's a very, very hard thing to do, and takes a long time, and a lot of the effort is front loaded. But the reason I wrote my second book, Lean Marketing, was because I was absolutely compelled to, because of what's going on right now in marketing. Now, we see, every time we listen to a podcast, every time we read a book, every time we watch a YouTube, it's more, do more, spend more, post more often. And there's so much noise and so much stuff going on. And you see all the ads on whatever, Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and people are just shouting louder and louder, making bigger and bigger promises. And it's basically creating a lot of pollution in the marketing space. And when I pulled back and I saw what we were doing, what some of the most sophisticated marketers on the planet were doing, they weren't doing more. They weren't shouting louder. They weren't throwing more things against the wall. They were actually doing less. They had a very lean approach to their marketing. They were doing one or two things, or maybe a few things, but doing them very, very well and going deep with those things. And so that's why I wrote the book Lean Marketing, because I wanted to document the approach. What are lean marketers doing that others aren't doing, that others are like failing with? And lean marketers are just knocking it out of the park with their results, and they're actually doing less stuff and getting bigger results. So that's what I'm seeing right now. People are just confused. People are following hype. People are trying every bright, shiny object. Now, of course, with AI, people are thinking AI is going to solve all of their problems and do their marketing for them and all of that sort of stuff. And I'm not discounting that. It's a super powerful tool. I use it too in my team and in my tool stack. But there's so much hype and there's so much noise out there that we need a different way to stand out from the crowd. And that's what I think I've done with lean marketing, is show what's a path that you can follow that's going to help you stand out from the crowd, stand out from the noise, and do less stuff but get bigger results.
I love it. Allan, what I think is brilliant about your approach, and especially with this book, is there are some people, Allan, we have different personalities and people learn differently. They hear the term lean and that automatically makes their brain orient a certain way. And then they hear marketing, but then you put them together, and that's what's so profound about what you've done, Allan. And so when you put lean and marketing together, and as we kind of get into the book here, what was kind of your aha moment on marrying the discipline of marketing and the discipline of lean together?
Yeah, my aha moment, and I sort of document that in the book. I was invited to speak at a conference. It was in 2019 before COVID. I was invited to Mexico, and it was in a city called Guanajuato, where it's a manufacturing hub for the automotive industry. And I was speaking at this automotive industry event, and one of the people, my book had just come out in Spanish, and so a lot of the audience had a copy of my one-page marketing plan book in Spanish. And one guy named Luis came up to me and he said, "I really enjoyed your book. Thank you so much. You got me to sign it." And we chatted for a while. And he said, "I consider your book to be lean marketing." And I'd never heard that phrase before. And I thought, "Oh, well, thank you," and all of that. But what I'd noticed is almost all the attendees there, because they were a part of the automotive industry and they were somehow tied to manufacturing, either in services or products or whatever they were doing. I heard this phrase lean a lot, lean Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, lean this and that. And I'd maybe heard of it before, but not really understood it well. And so that took me down a rabbit hole to really understand what this is. And when I looked into it, I saw just how powerful it was in the manufacturing space and what massive transformations companies had gone through when they implemented lean in their businesses. So to me, really applying that to marketing, I think that was something that we really need, because lean is all about being more efficient, getting more done with less equipment, less space, less time, less human effort, and coming closer and closer to what clients want, exactly what clients want. And I thought this is so needed in the marketing space, because in the marketing space there's massive amounts of waste, massive amounts of noise. There's even a phrase that half of my marketing is wasted, I just don't know which half. And I was thinking to myself, that would never happen in a manufacturing space. No manufacturer would ever say, half of our labor is wasted, we just don't know which half. That they operate at sometimes Six Sigma levels of efficiency, which means basically 3.4 defects per million opportunities. And I was thinking to myself, if we think of marketing that doesn't work, or wasteful marketing, as a defect, well, that's a very, very different mindset. And now we can really think about, how do we make our marketing so much more efficient? How do we make it so much more valuable? And how do we reduce the amount of time, money, and effort that we need to do our marketing? So that's really where the idea for lean marketing came from. And, I defined 9 principles of lean marketing that are going to really help you there.
I love that, Allan, and thank you for that breakdown on how where lean meets marketing. And I mean, dare I say, Allan, you're probably the only person that's really tied those concepts together like that. And as we look in the book, Allan, I love how you talk about force multiplier, or force multipliers. And you broke the book into 3 sections. So we have the first force multiplier, tools; the second, assets; and the third, processes. Take us through how the book is structured and how business owners can look at those 3 force multipliers to better deliver value.
Yeah, so to do more with less, that implies that we need leverage. And so what leverage is? Leverage is a force multiplier. So if I input 1 unit of time, money, energy, and I get more than 1 unit back out, well, that implies that we're multiplying that input force. So I had identified 3 major force multipliers when it comes to building your own marketing. And, I didn't just invent that from the top of my head. It's from a lot of experience, both myself, but also working with thousands of clients all over the world. What are the major things that move the needle the most for a client when it comes to their marketing? And it's really those things that you outlined: tools, assets, and processes. So tools is pretty obvious. There, sometimes you'll have a manual process, or be doing something in a haphazard way, and a tool can help us get massive leverage. So now we're seeing a lot of leverage with AI tools. If you think of it practically, excuse me, if you think of it practically, if we had a brick wall that we wanted to break down, now we could maybe do it manually with our our hands, but it's going to be very difficult, take a very long time. It's going to be very painful. If we had the right tool, like a sledgehammer, we could do that in a few minutes very, very easily. Similarly, when it comes to our marketing, there are tools that will help us get massive, massive leverage in our marketing. So there are CRM tools, there are content management tools, AI tools, all of those sorts of things that can help us do a lot more and get with less inputs, less labor, less time, less money, less energy. So there are super powerful tools out there. The next one is assets. So assets are what kind of separate the rich from the poor. When we look at people who are wealthy and doing very well, usually they're generating a lot of their income, if not all of their income, from assets. So for example, if you own a rental property, you can generate rental income. If you own stocks, you can generate dividend income. Now, there's nothing wrong with earning from labor, and we've all got to start somewhere, but labor is not scalable. It's not saleable. And the problem is it stops when you stop, right? So if I stop working, well, I stop earning. And similarly, I found the case with marketing. If you've got powerful marketing assets out there, you can generate new leads, new prospects, new revenue in your business. If you don't have any marketing assets out there, you're going to have to do that manually. You're going to have to cold call. You're going to have to do cold outreach. You're going to have to follow up and all of those sorts of things. So the reason that you and I are speaking right now is because of marketing assets I've got out there in the form of my books, right? And every single day I get someone who will reach out, say, hey, would you speak at my event, or would you be on my podcast, or can I join your program? All because I've got those marketing assets out there. So they generate a lot of lead flow. So similarly, I recommend most of our clients to have marketing assets that will help them generate lead flow, not necessarily a book. It can be other types of marketing assets. So they're going to help you get massive, massive leverage. The third is processes. So I often say marketing is a process, not an event. So it's not something that's once and done. We did a big rebrand, or we did a big relaunch, or whatever else. That's all great and nothing wrong with that. But the way that you win at the game of marketing is with processes, the daily, weekly, monthly, the boring stuff, and those compound, similar to the way compound interest works. So you can generate a lot of wealth over a period of time through compound interest. You just have the interest compound over time. And in the beginning, it feels like almost nothing's happening. But then down the track, you'll see that big curve, and you're now generating real money from compound interest because it compounds on itself. So similarly, from a marketing perspective, what are the things that we're going to do daily, weekly, monthly that are going to compound over time and get us a lot of lead flow, a lot of revenue, a lot of clients coming in the door? So that's kind of a summary of the three major force multipliers.
I love that breakdown, Allan. I'm getting more excited as we I could nerd out on this stuff. In talking about assets, Allan, one of the things that you had in the book is the concept of your flagship asset. And one of the things you talk about in the book is center your flagship asset on a big idea. Why is that so important for a business to do that?
Yeah. So what a flagship asset is some marketing asset in your business that you're famous for in your niche. And the point of a flagship asset is to create a lot of value for your target market, so that people, whether they buy or not, they get a lot of value from it. It also helps reveal invisible prospects. So people who you can't really easily get a list of. So for example, if you're a chiropractor, there's no list that you can get out there that lists everyone who's got back pain, right? You need those prospects to put their hand up and reveal themselves and say, hey, I've got back pain. So it might be a video series, it might be a YouTube, or it could be a podcast or whatever, where now you've got people opting in and saying, hey, I'm kind of interested in what you've got, your message, and I've got back pain and so on. So it provides a lot of value. It helps exaggerate some of your uniqueness, because it's very difficult to stand out in the marketplace. So part of what we want to do with a flagship asset is exaggerate some of your uniqueness in your business. And so that's what a flagship asset really helps us do. It generates a lot of goodwill, helps reveal invisible prospects, exaggerates your uniqueness in the marketplace. So, and generates a lot of lead flow, generates a lot of goodwill, generates referrals, helps you close deals and things like that. So, like I said, in an example of a flagship asset in my business is my books, but and my one-page marketing plan canvas. So that's super powerful way of really standing out in the marketplace rather than just interrupting people with ads, spamming people, cold outreaching and all of that. We're actually providing something of value, something that people want, something that people opt in for, something that people refer to their friend. And, I can't tell you how many times someone said, wow, I got massive value from the one-page marketing plan, and I got my friend to do a marketing plan in his business and helped him, and I consulted this place and I got them to do it. So that's a tool. And even though the vast majority of people who maybe use the one-page marketing plan process will never pay me a cent, will never become a client, that's something that's creating a lot of goodwill in the marketplace. And then a small percentage of those people they'll reach out, they'll join one of our programs, they'll be part of something that we're doing, and that's totally fine. And I love that way of marketing because we're generating a lot of goodwill, we're generating a lot of positivity in the marketplace rather than just adding to the pollution.
Yeah. Wow, that's really powerful, Allan. The positivity, not the pollution. A little bit of alliteration there too.
That's it.
Allan, one of the things I really appreciated you saying in chapter 11 is business is a team sport. There's so much about, you mentioned it earlier, creating uniqueness. There's competition, be the best, be the top of your industry. And you kind of bring it back to, hey, wait a minute, business is a team sport. So talk to us about the point you were making there in that chapter.
Yeah. So one of the key parts of getting your marketing processes right, as I alluded earlier, is doing the boring stuff daily, weekly, monthly. Now, that's a problem for most entrepreneurs, myself included, because we get bored very easily, we get distracted very easily, we move on to the next project. And so a massive problem for most entrepreneurs is consistent implementation of just the daily, weekly, monthly, kind of the driving the bus every day, just doing the boring stuff. A lot of them will do it once, twice, 3 times, get distracted. I didn't have time. I had this fire I needed to put out, all of that. So for most entrepreneurs, you need a team to staff your weaknesses and to do that daily, weekly, monthly, boring stuff. So we're usually the wrong personality type to do that stuff. So for example, when I think of myself, I love novelty. I love the new thing, the new project, the new campaign, the new whatever. And, I would just, my mind would die trying to do just the daily, weekly, monthly boring stuff. But it's that boring stuff that's actually going to help you get results. Whereas different personality types, like for example, my wife, she loves just doing a checklist. Yeah, okay, today we're doing this, then we're doing that, then we're doing that. Next day, do it again, right? That's her personality. And that's the personality of a lot of people in my team as well. They love to do kind of the structured approach. We know what we're doing today. We're putting the square peg in the square hole. We're putting the round peg in the round hole. And they love that. So you need those people in your team as an entrepreneur, the people who will show up, drive the bus every day, get the daily, weekly, monthly stuff done so that you can work in your genius zone. So for me, that way I can focus on the new idea, the new project, the new thing, and I know that the stuff is going to get done. Otherwise, if it was left up to me, and most entrepreneurs are like that, it just wouldn't get done. And often it doesn't get done. And that's why we need that team. We need to staff our weaknesses. In the school system teaches us that we need to have all the answers. We need to figure it all out. We need to do it all ourselves. And if you get someone to help you in school, it's often considered cheating, right? Yeah. If you're doing a test and you have someone help you out with that test because you're not good at that part of it, that's called cheating. Whereas in business, that's called collaboration. That's called building a team, right? That's something that is essential for your success. So unfortunately in school, we sometimes get taught stuff that's kind of not practical in real life. And so we need to develop that capability of building a team, people who are going to cover our weaknesses so that we can focus on our strengths.
Mm, I love that, Alan. Especially you talking about the way people are wired. Like, hey, I'm all about
Yeah.
maybe I've got the squirrel syndrome. What's new? And then you have someone like you mentioned, your wife just, hey, I'm more of the checklist. And so the
Yeah.
the combination of the personality types, the skill sets allows the business to move forward. So I love that, Alan. Um, Alan, before we get ready to wrap up here, so we've got lean marketing. Where can people go to get a copy of the book and so that they could start diving in?
Yeah, so both my books, Lean Marketing and the One Page Marketing Plan, available wherever books are sold. Amazon, obviously, they're also very popular on audio. So if you're on Audible, you can get both books on audio. Yeah, so just wherever books are sold.
Love it. Alan, you've got a wealth of resources. We talked about top end of the intro. You founded Lean Marketing to help entrepreneurs and business leaders shortcut the difficult and expensive trial
Yeah,
and error process of mastering marketing. So you've got a number of resources available as well. So we've got the books, no doubt. You talked about the one page marketing plan canvas. Is that something that a business owner fills out on their own? Do they sit their executive team or
yeah.
team down together? How can they go about using that resource?
Yeah, all of those above and many other ways. So the one page marketing plan canvas, you can download that for free on
Mhm.
leanmarketing.com. It's a single page canvas that you can fill in about 20 to 30 minutes so that you have clarity around your marketing. A lot of people will do that together with their key team members. So if you're a solopreneur, obviously do it yourself. If you've got an executive team, sometimes doing a draft yourself and then working that through with your executive team is a good way to do it. But and the whole point of it is it's a one-page marketing plan. It's easy to fill in, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And the whole point of a one-page marketing plan is when you get better and more information, you can update it at any time. And also because it's not a big, long 75-page plan, it's easily shareable. So you can share it with your team. So you say, hey, team, so we're on the same page around our marketing. Here's what our one-page marketing plan. Here's our messaging. Here's our target market, all of that. If you're working with an external vendor like a pay-per-click ads person or a social media person or whatever, uh, anyone who's worth their salt is going to want to know what your marketing plan is. So that, again, that's easily shareable. You'd share it with them and say, all right, this is our messaging, this is our market, this is how we want to reach them, and this is our nurturing process. So your one-page marketing plan will be helpful there. So it's a great tool for really getting everybody on the same page around their marketing and being clear about it. Because the worst thing is if you have one idea about what your marketing should be and your team has a different idea and your vendor has a different idea, and it's not aligned. So one page marketing plan really helps get everyone on the same page.
Love it, folks. You're hearing from the man himself. Now, Alan, as we know, man, I read the book, I did the canvas, but man, I still want to work with Alan and his organization. So if someone wants to work directly with you, Alan, where can they go? Because you've got an accelerator, you've got various different ways that you can help support businesses. So what are those ways for businesses to go another step? They may need a little bit of hand holding and extra support.
Yep. So the main way is we've got an accelerator, which is a group program. And we've also got a one-on-one program as part of Accelerator. So it's basically a way to, if you need a bit of a helping hand, and we've got a program that runs over about 12 months. So to take you from basically wherever you are to where you need to be from a marketing perspective, and really implementing those things that we talked about, the right tools, the right assets, the right processes, getting clear around your messaging, your target market, figuring all of those things out at a much deeper level. Because while it is possible to do it yourself, and many people do, if you like with anything, there's a lot of nuance. How do we go deeper? How do we figure out really what's a message that's really going to connect with our audience? What really is our most profitable target market that we should be going after? What media channels should we be using? So all of those things we go through in a lot of detail in our accelerator program. We'll help you implement the right tools. We'll help you hire the right people. So again, we talked about business being a team sport. Often a big part of the program is helping you hire a marketing coordinator or marketing person who's going to do a lot of that stuff inside of your business. So it's a program I'm tremendously proud of. We've got amazing results for people over the years. And so that's probably the best way that someone can engage with us.
Excellent. Allan, I personally could talk to you another 3 hours, but folks, we can't. We've got to let Allan go so he can continue to deliver value to his customers all across the world. Folks, one-page marketing plan in his latest work, Lean Marketing. We will have all of Allan's resources in the show notes, fortifiedlifepodcast.com. We'll have a link to the one-page marketing plan and all his books, as well as leanmarketing.com. Allan, this has been great. We'll have to do this again sometime in the future.
For sure. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having me. Very kind of you.
Absolutely, Allan. Folks, that's all we've got time for this week, but you know how we leave things. Don't compartmentalize your faith in the marketplace. And remember, from the boardroom to the bathroom, God is with you. Once again, this has been a tools and resources episode for our series. God bless, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Fortified Life Podcast. You can catch us live on Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time and on demand. Check out fortifiedlifepodcast.com for more details. To learn how to live out your faith in the marketplace, grab a copy of Jason Davis's book, Fortified: Being Rooted in God's Plan for Work and Business, available on Amazon.